Happening indeed, my friend. So, I am in the basement. I was going to try to record. You know how I have to record my video through my phone and the audio through the machine that I got down here
Yeah.
because I can't do both the video and the audio on the machine at the same time. You know about all that. Well, I was gonna change it up and do it, the way that maybe one would want to do it, where it was all through one machine this time.
Ideally.
But it did not work. As soon as I got down here, I realized that the Zoom program that I have on the Ubuntu whatever thing that I got here was an old version and it wouldn't run. So I would have had to update it, which would have been more techno time
That's
or tech time.
it's one of the things that annoys me about Zoom. It doesn't give you an option to not update. It so many times I've been like just on time for a meeting, but then I gotta wait a little bit because Zoom is auto updating before I can attend the meeting.
Exactly. Hey, let me show you this. This is Big Red. Did I talk to you about this already?
It's a soda? No, you have
It
not
is a
talked about
soda.
Big Red.
So, my grandpa Bob, Bobb was his last name, lived in Indiana.
Was his first name
And
Robert?
whenever he would, I don't know exactly. I no,
Bobby Bob?
no, no. Bob was his last name.
That's
His
what I'm
first
asking.
name
Was his first name Robert? Because his name would be Bobby
no,
Bob.
I believe it was Eldon or Eldor.
Oh, the Elder
Eldor.
Bob.
Yeah, but I believe Eldor, Eldor.
Eldor.
Uh,
Of the
anyway,
mill people.
he would bring Big Red, which we didn't get here in Illinois, in glass bottles. And every time that he would show up with the Big Red, I'd be really happy about it.
So it's a
Um,
Wisconsin drink? It's like a North Plains kind of north. Is that
so he's
Wisconsin? Wisconsin.
he lived in Indiana, Seymour, Indiana, where I believe John Cougar Mellencamp was from, the small town that he mentions. Um,
I don't
well,
want
I
to
don't
see
know. I'll
more
be.
Indiana. I've seen enough.
It might be in Wisconsin as well. I don't know. But
Anyway, Big Red.
where this came from was Texas, and this is the Big Red Zero.
How did it get to
It
you
has
from
sucralose.
Texas?
Remember when I was on vacation? I went to Texas.
Oh, I don't think you told me where you were going. Because
Aha,
you're
there's a reason
shifty
for
like
that, Ben.
that, Paul.
Yeah, exactly. I never tell anyone where I'm going until I get back.
You were in
I
Texas.
was
What,
in
what part of Texas?
Grapevine, Texas,
I'm assuming that's North
Near-
Texas?
near Dallas.
Oh, Central Texas then.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And we went to the Meow Wolf thing. I might have told you a little bit about it. Meow Wolf.
I know that you've been
big
to Meow Wolf
installation thing.
before, yeah.
I've been to the one in Santa Fe, and I've been to the one in Denver, and now I've been to the one in Grapevine. Still have not been to the one in Las Vegas, which is a while out.
I'm going to be in Vegas in October. Maybe I will go.
You should. Oh, Ben, if you're there, you should. It's called Omega Mart.
Yes, I've heard of it. I've seen pictures online, actually.
Yep. And I think I've mentioned this to you, but I will confirm that it is going to be later rather than sooner when we move to Chicago. Part of the reason being, Jennifer and I have attempted to pack, and we just can't do it. It's too much, man.
That's why you got to start small and early.
Well, I mean, it is small and early, but we just know from the amount of that we've gotten done, it's not. It's just like mowing the lawn, right? I can mow the lawn, but there are so many things I want to do instead that the money that I spend mowing the lawn. I mean, I'll tell you this, and this. I'm not saying that this puts me in the top 1%, Ben, but it does show a little bit of elitism on my part. I have a lawnmower. It's in the garage. I'm not using it. I am instead paying someone to mow my lawn because I don't want to do it.
Fair. I mean, if you can afford it, that's an option for you. Nobody's begrudging you
So,
that.
in the same way, the move to Chicago will cost many thousands of dollars to have someone come here and put all of our stuff into boxes for us.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because if we don't do that, we're never going to do it. And I want to tell you that so that you understand when I say that you are a blessing and the fact that you moved the entire house was important. I didn't know how bad it would have been for me to try to do that. So how long did it take you guys to pack that house up?
I want to say we spent most of October. I was originally
Hmm.
told that they weren't going to try to sell the house until the end of November. So when I
Mm.
started, it was like the day after Spin the Bottle, right? So like the first or second week of October. And I started small because like what you're doing, because if you look at it all at once, it seems quite overwhelming and
Yeah.
impossible. So I was doing little bits at a time, but then the real estate agent showed up and told me that I only had like 2 more weeks. So that's when I called in the cavalry, and we basically spent for 2.5 weeks solid every night at your house, cleaning and organizing,
Wow.
packing, shipping. Yeah.
Now, am I correct that we said, "Hey, this is the stuff that we need. Anything else that you guys want, you can take from that house." That was part of the deal,
Yeah,
right?
I had a list
I
of
believe
stuff
so.
to ship to you. Everything else was fair game. I basically just either got thrown away, donated.
Yeah. So keeping that kind of idea in mind, right? What we are going to do between now and the time that we move is we're going to get rid of stuff,
Yeah,
right? Because there is stuff that we don't want anymore or we don't need. So we're going to get rid of all that stuff so that they only end up packing the stuff that we truly want. But even then, I think that it's going to be November, December before we actually
okay,
move because I have to get the money together
yeah.
to
Woo,
do it.
moving to Chicago in December. That's gonna be a thrill.
Well, here's the thing I was thinking about. If we're looking at the houses in December, I mean, there's
That's
not a lot you can do to hide.
right.
Uh,
Also, I mean, just anecdotally, I hear that wintertime is a good time for the housing market because nobody's really looking to buy in the winter.
exactly. Yeah. So we'll see how it all works out. Um, and again, there is always the chance that the big thing is this: saving the money is the first thing because there's always a chance that some opportunity will come up, and it's like, hey, do you guys want to move this back to Seattle? Or something like, some kind of thing where, hey, it turns out that SJ Chiro is moving to Detroit and opening up a, theater there, or what, something strange,
Yeah,
something where if we don't,
a collective.
so getting rid of the stuff that's not going to matter, right? We already have stuff that we need. We already have to get rid of stuff that already has to happen. So with that all in mind, chances are we're going to be here when you do the thing, but still make the plan. Still make the plan to do both, just in case. Because there is some. I have some. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. There's a chance that the timeline could get sped up if some deals go through. So
Okay,
far, the deals have not gone through, but they
gotcha.
could. I don't know.
I am working out two different itineraries. One that goes through Edwardsville, one through Chicago. but it's all. I imagine it's all going to be very fluid right up until the day.
Ooh, by the way, I'm going to say this: when you go through this area
Yeah.
and you're planning your trip, try to go through Wally's.
Wally's.
Wallys. Yeah.
What is that a town?
Wally's is like, have you ever been to Bucky's?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been to a
Yeah,
Bucky's.
Wally's is like Bucky's,
Is it
except
like
it's
a
Wally's.
small city of gas pumps?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one difference between Wally's and Bucky's. The bathrooms in Wally's are like as much of a draw as the gas pumps.
Yeah. I that's the thing
I haven't felt
when I drive, if I'm on road trips, I always try to stop at like a Love's or a Bucky's
Yep.
because you can count on the bathrooms being nice.
Wally's has been the nicest bathroom I've ever been in
Yeah.
outside of a home.
There's a concierge
Oh,
handing you a warm towel on your way out.
so speaking of which, I had to once again. And those of you who have followed the podcast will know it's about a 2 year span. I had to get rid of the bidet that we had put in because it started leaking at the exact same spot that the last one did. There's a part where the metal fastener goes into like a plastic post, and that plastic post eventually no longer holds a seal.
Yeah.
And so, but this time, because we're planning on moving, I went ahead and took it off because we're going to have to anyway. This is something that I've installed in the bathroom
You don't want to use
here
somebody else's
that,
bidet.
well, right, yes.
I don't. Maybe
It
you
just
do.
makes, no. Hey, somebody does
Not
probably.
not at the same time I'm using it, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey, can
it's
I
a
get in
shared
there?
bidet. Man, that's right. There's that old story where you're in the bathroom and you knock and somebody's like, "Come on in," and it's like, "Well, all right."
I
No,
heard I
no.
heard the best reaction to that response to that when somebody knocks in the bathroom. What you do is you yell out, "Come back when you have a warrant."
um. So the thing about that though, there are two things that happened based off of this, and that's that one, I did want something to kind of make things a little bit better in the bathroom area,
Yeah.
and so I got a squatty potty stool, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out whether or not you're supposed to put all your weight on your feet and then therefore you're actually squatting, or if you're because you're sitting on the toilet still, you just have your legs up on this stool thing,
Okay.
so your knees are elevated.
And
And so but the question
is that
it's
supposed to
supposed to
help?
it's supposed to help. Yeah, it's supposed to help. It's the angle that you are at when you're sitting. It's no longer a 40, it's no longer a 90-degree angle. You're not sitting, you're kind of
It like
a
opens
little bit
you
more
up
forward.
more.
Sort of, yeah, yeah. You're not as constricted, etc. Whatever.
All
I don't know if
right.
it works,
All right.
if it's real or not. But the question, the question I had was, am I supposed to be putting all my weight on my feet
Right.
so that you're actually squatting over it like it's a hole in the ground,
Yeah.
or are you supposed to still be sitting and you just have your feet up? And eventually, Ben, I asked ChatGPT.
Oh, and what did Doctor AI say?
You're supposed to be sitting. It's just supposed to elevate your legs up.
It seems to me though, if you're squatting
You're
on
on a
that thing,
better
I
angle.
mean, like in other cultures, toilets aren't actually Western toilets. There's just a hole in the ground and you squat over it.
Yeah.
And I've heard, like, from sources I cannot remember, that that's actually better for you. It's more healthy. It's whatever than like sitting
Yeah.
down. Especially what we do in the Western world is sit down for like half an hour because we're scrolling on our phones. But if you have like an elevated stool at your toilet, it seems like you would at least want to have something to hang on to if you're not
Oh,
sitting down.
well, yeah, exactly. And you would be sitting down in this case. And let me explain also, because I didn't know exactly what this would be like when I did it. So imagine you're sitting at the toilet, Ben. Just imagine.
Hang on, hang on.
That's the life. Uh, um, and then you've got the sort of pedestal that the toilet sits on, the sort of central ceramic piece,
Yeah,
like the sort of pillar that the bowl is on. So the stool goes around there, and it really is just kind of like a footstool.
yeah.
So
I think I've
basically,
seen
on
them
either
before.
side you have, yeah. I mean, it's not complicated. It's not um
Not rocket
it,
science.
it's not supposed to be painful. It's not supposed to be a workout,
This doesn't
etc.,
hurt,
etc.
Paul. This doesn't hurt.
And then so then the other thing I got, Ben, is this thing called the portable bidet. And here's the fun thing about the portable bidet,
It's
right?
just a hose you
If
bring in from
you
the outside.
you're very close. It's basically a water bottle with an attached nozzle
Yeah.
that you then turn upside down. Gravity makes the water come out, and you can squeeze the bottle, makes the water come out a little bit faster. And it's just a stream that goes onto your butt. But
But
here's the thing that there's a sketch that I think that we can still do this with. Okay, do you remember
probably not.
John McKenna
I do.
and I were in a sketch group together? We did video as part of that sketch group.
I think so. I think I saw you all perform at Rebar once.
Yep. Well, it might have been. It was I know we performed at the garage. We might have performed at Rebar as well.
Okay.
But there's this one thing. He's doing some kind of video, and he's like, "What kind of mute is this?" And it's not a mute or a trumpet. It's something that goes into a tube of sorts, I suppose. But anyway, he smells it and then he throws it away and all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing:
Comedy gold.
if you are bringing one of these onto an airplane with you, I think there might be questions. And then once you find out what it is, you can't unknow it.
Well, I mean, you would have to
That's-
fill it up in the airport because they probably wouldn't allow it through
Oh,
security.
this is what I mean. It's a water bottle. So you fill it up whenever, you would fill it up in whatever bathroom you would use
It
it for.
seems kind of dangerous to use something like this in an airplane bathroom. It feels like the chances for overspray or a missed target might be you might have a greater chance of that happening.
Oh yeah.
Especially
Speaking about
during
that, you've just
turbulence.
reminded me. Hijack, starring Idris Elba on Apple TV Plus.
Haven't seen it. Is he the hijacker or the hijackee?
Well, I can't tell you anything about it, Ben. But he is on a plane, and the plane is hijacked. Is what I will say,
Okay.
and it's good. Fallout. Also saw that on Amazon Prime. Watched the whole thing of that as well.
Wow. It's like it's your job. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things.
Of the two, I believe I preferred Fallout. I mean, I will say for sure I preferred Fallout.
A friend of mine, Cody, said that there are a bunch of fun little nuggets and Easter eggs for people who know the game, but it's also a solid television show for people who haven't played. And I haven't played it. I don't play video games, so that was actually my question. Like the same was true with Last of Us. I kind of went in hesitantly because I'd never played the game before, but ended up being a great show.
This is one of the things that can't think of his name. Boyd Crowder from Justify. I should know this guy.
Walton Goggins.
It's Walton Goggins. I can't believe Walton. If you're watching this, I know you're a fan of the show. Sorry.
Oh, he just
You
commented
know
on
that
this
I.
YouTube stream. No, he didn't.
Ah, man, sorry. No. So Walton Goggins said specifically that he did not play the games.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was Bethesda gave everyone the choice, or the opportunity to play play all the games and all that. He said that he didn't, and the justification he gave when talking about it is that he wanted to be someone who had never seen or heard of the games, so that he would be able to detect when something was just there for fan service and didn't make any sense and wouldn't be enjoyed by people who
Yeah.
haven't played the games.
Yeah.
And he's great. He is
That's
great in it.
what's his character's name? Like
The Ghoul?
the Ghoul. Yeah. I
Yeah.
saw some photos of him getting into the makeup,
Yeah.
and it seemed pretty intense. It's interesting that he said that in terms of like not wanting to play the game because there have been a bunch of other stories that I've heard where somebody has either taken over a role or has um, been in a project where there's been a previous thing, either a video game or another movie,
Mhm.
and the performers didn't want to be influenced by the previous stuff. You know what I mean? They wanted to put
Right.
their own stamp
Right.
on it, which seems kind of selfish, but they wanted to put their own like performing stamp on it and not be influenced by whatever the video game did or the character in the original movie of which you're in the reboot.
Yeah, the good news about that, of course, is that I want to say Walter Goggins,
Walton.
um, Walton.
Walton.
Sorry, Walton. Ugh. Sorry, Walton Goggins. I like your stuff. I've seen you in a bunch of stuff, and you're a good actor and a wonderful interview. So I do apologize for getting your name wrong. Shouldn't happen, but happens all the time.
I haven't. So I
Me.
actually, I did get to a point where I wanted to start watching a new TV show. So I watched the first episode of the Three Body Problem, the Netflix
Oh
Three Body
yeah,
Problem.
I've seen all of the Netflix Three Body Problem as well.
And this
You're
was
watching a lot of shows.
what day was this? This was like on Tuesday, I think, Monday or Tuesday. And today's Thursday. I haven't seen
Yeah.
any other ones. I did, however, watch all of X-Men '97.
Oh yeah, I watched a lot of. Does Nightcrawler ever show up?
I want to say yes.
Blue guy, he's
Yeah,
got a tail.
can teleport.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nightcrawler does show
cool,
up.
cool, cool. Is he in more than one episode?
I don't want to give anything away, Paul Goody.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, I'll continue watching it.
Nightcrawler dies
they're
at the end.
good.
No, that's not true.
No, they are good. I have liked them, but what would happen is I would watch. This happens all the time. I watch the episodes that are available,
Yeah.
and then once they're done, I forget that they're still going on because I'm so used to binging all the things. And
Yeah,
then,
I when I saw when I
I've
watched
been
it,
watching Sugar. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say when I watched it, X-Men '97, there were up to 5 episodes, and that was it. And I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be more, just the way that episode 5 ended. So
Okay, so well, I mean that gives me an idea because I've been watching them pretty often, and if Nightcrawler had been in them, when I saw the ones that I saw, I would have kept watching them immediately because my favorite superhero.
Nightcrawler
Is
that does not
so yo
it does not surprise me. Um, just based on you asking
yeah
if Nightcrawler was in it. Um, yeah,
yeah
those are the only TV shows I've been watching. Not a lot of
okay
TV watching time.
yeah I have I don't talk about work.
Sorry, everybody. I just sneezed.
I have been having I like the car that we have. Have I talked to you about the car, what type it is, and all that?
It's a Toyota Camry hybrid.
That is correct.
What year is it?
Um, the it is a 2014.
Okay, so it probably has like 100,000
There
miles on it.
is probably something like that. It does not have a backup camera,
Yeah.
which I don't like, but Jennifer does like because she doesn't like the beeping of the backup cameras. For me, it's hard for me to pay attention when I'm backing up. So, it's nice, but there's a feature of it that I really like,
Heated seats.
and what's that? Oh
Heat.
no, I don't think so. Um, but what it does have in the middle of the steering column, I believe it's in the middle of the steering column. I want to say that's where it is, but it might be.
The column.
No, it might just be in the middle of the panel, in the front dash or whatever.
Okay.
There is a little icon, and the icon tells you whether your power is coming from gasoline,
Yeah.
whether it's coming from the battery, or whether your wheels are charging your battery.
As you're braking.
And so it's like a little video game that you can play while you're driving.
The Prius didn't have that? It seems like every time I've been in a Prius, it's always had that info.
It has that info, but you have to choose it from a screen.
Ah.
And you can choose it. You can choose it from the screen for the Camry as well. But the Camry has an additional version in the very front, where it does that. It's pretty awesome.
My car does not have a backup camera, and I wish that wasn't really a thing that I was shopping for when I picked up my car, but I kind of wish it did now because the view out of the back sucks when you're trying to like back out of a parking space, just because of the design of the car. So a backup camera would be nice. Paul, we're bearing the lead here. You're wearing glasses, I believe, for the first time ever on the podcast.
Oh, for the first time ever? Really? I'm sure I have.
I believe
before.
so.
And this is totally unintentional. These are reading glasses, and I was using them when I was trying to set stuff up, and I just left them on.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, these are. I've got two different pairs of glasses. One pair are the transition or the what do you call them? Not transition lenses.
Bifocals, progressive lenses.
Progressive. There you go. Progressive lenses, which I don't like.
My glasses vote
in general.
Down ticket, Democratic.
But these I really do like. They, because the whole. So there's something going on upstairs. I think Jennifer might be making something, but it's setting Edward off. So it's distracting. But I can use these for reading whatever. When I read them, the entire I can see my entire field of vision. I can read everything, which is great. And I think I mentioned this to you before, but the Apple Vision Pro, is like that as well. It's like I'm wearing glasses when I have it on. Like I can see everything. Everything works fine for me.
I do remember you telling me that you got the progressive lenses and like stopped wearing them because you didn't like.
I
didn't like them.
Return them to the store, in fact. And Jennifer's like, "Oh, come on, give it some time." Oh, shoot, I'm bearing the lead again. I quit my D&D group. I forgot about that.
Was that in the running, or were you
DMing.
Thinking about that for a while?
No. It was just a thing that happened. So I was in my D&D group, and I'll tell you. Okay, so there's a basic thing. This is sort of, I think it's an OCD thing more than and this isn't one pro. I'll just zoom out.
Wow.
Works. I feel as though and I talked about this with my therapist that sometimes I have a dividing line between, well, this is more OCD, this is more autism, this is more ADHD, right? That there are different tendencies that I have that fit one of those better than the other. Um, so I think this is more of an OCD thing. When I find a hobby that I like, when I a pastime, so like doing a crossword puzzle or playing a video game or whatever, there is a tipping point. There's a transition where all of a sudden I don't like doing it anymore,
Yeah.
and it becomes a source of stress for me. Like, oh, I have to do this thing or else it's not going to work. And that eventually is what happened with running Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I didn't really want to do it anymore. I got nervous whenever it was time to do it, etc. And part of the reason for that is that one of the players in the group, a good friend of mine, right? But one of the players who used to be a DM for the group um, was not enjoying himself and would often complain about the way that I was doing things.
Okay.
You know, well, I really like this, and I've noticed that we haven't been doing this, or, you know, okay, this is one of the things that he would do that would drive me a little bit nuts. So I'd have an adventure planned, right? Well, we're going to go to this dungeon, and you're going to go through there, and you're going to find this artifact. And he would say something like, "Oh, my character's not interested in that artifact. He'd have no reason to go. He wouldn't know why he's doing that."
This guy never took improv
I mean,
classes.
I guess he'll go anyway, but he's not going to be invested. He's going to have no reason to do anything.
This guy sounds like a
Stuff like
fun
that.
time.
Again, like I said, good friend of mine, but it happened a lot. So I started going. See, here's how I would normally play. And this is what I enjoy doing. It's like improv. I get together with the group. I say, okay, here you are. You're in this place. What do you want to do? Oh, I want to go to a shopkeeper. Oh, hello there, sir. Welcome to my store. What can I get for you? Well, I
Yeah.
want to do this, this, and this. And then whenever in those interactions that we're having, there's something that requires a skill that you use or whatever, then we do that mechanical thing. But if we can just talk the whole time, then
Yeah.
that's fine too. You remember kind of how we were playing. There were never any rolls really. We were just going through stuff. The exercise that you and I went through, kind of what I enjoyed doing. Part of the reason why I did it, that's what was that I was missing that type of role play.
Yeah.
Right? I asked you questions. Well, what kind of thing, that sort of deal. So that's what I'm used, what I liked to do. But he was much more into the combat aspect of it, much into the fighting and all that. And so eventually it got to the point where I'm like, well, I can't really improv that. Anytime that I try to do anything, it's not working. I'm going to start running a module. A module is where they make this stuff up for you.
Okay.
And then, so here's this room where you have this interaction. Here's this thing. Here's this plot, etc. More on rails to do stuff. And there's a part in it where you have this big space battle. And the way that things are written, the space battle didn't seem like it was going to be interesting to the group as much. And so I came up with a way to, and I showed up early. This is at another player's house, right? And we worked together to set up this map to come up with, okay, well, here's how we're going to do stuff. And what we came up with is, so there's this fight between, this fleet and this other fleet. And the way that it's said to do it in the module, and I wish I would have done it the way it did in the module, but also I don't, because this was a cathartic experience for me, is that you just do the interaction of your ship with the other ship, right? You and one other ship, and then all the other battle stuff happens, kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And so, but I was under the impression of, well, this guy likes fighting, and the mechanics of it and everything. Let's do that. So I set up this way for each, we have these little ships. Each ship represents 5 ships, and these 5 ships and these 5 ships are going to fight. so that you're actually doing an entire battle with the whole thing,
Yeah.
with the whole two fleets against each other, and it really time turns and all that. So we set it all up, and he shows up, and the first thing he says is that the way that I've got this grid written out is he can't read it or it's messy. He wants to fix it. And so I let him do that because, fine, no problem whatsoever. That's great. But it is okay, sure. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry if I'm overstepping. He even says that. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's going to help all of us out if it's like that. And then we get to the point where, and I explain what we're doing too. And then we're waiting for other people to show up. The other people show up. And he says, okay, I want to get started now. But there's one guy who isn't there. And I still want to kind of wait for him, but he's like, we should get started. And I'm like, okay. And I said, okay, so this is how it's set up. We're going to pick which of these ships you guys want. And he says, well, my character wouldn't want to be in charge of a fleet. My character would want to go into the other ships and fight the people on the other ships individually because he's more of a martial artist. To which I say, well, you're not actually playing your character here. You are playing these ships, and we're doing the mechanics of a ship battle. And he said, well, but if we do it where my character goes on the ships, then I'm still playing my character and I'm still engaged. And I'm like, okay, but we don't have it set up that way. How would you want to do it? Would you want to we have your character action and then you do the ship's action? So, and then like if you win on this ship, then one of the ships goes. How do you want to do this? He's like, well, I don't know how you want to do it. I'm just saying that And then one of the other players is like, well, why don't we do it this way? We could sort of trade off between one thing or the other. And he's like, well, what if we do it like a skill challenge? Like I tell you what skills I'm going to use. And I was like, okay, what's happening now? The first thing I said was, you guys figure out what you want to do, and then I'll just do whatever. That sounds great. Figure out how you want to do it. I thought that we had set this up to do it this way, but I don't want to stand in anybody's way. And then he was like, well, and I forgot about this. The other thing was, I was like, my thought is after this module ends that we'll continue playing with higher level characters. And he's like, I'll tell you right now, I've quit games with higher level characters because it takes too long to do anything with them. So that happened first, and then this part happened, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna leave. I think that I'm not having any fun, and I'm going to leave. So this is supposed to be fun. It's not fun, and I'm gonna go. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I left the house, and there was a guy who was parked behind me.
Oh no.
So I had to wait, and he came out and was like, and this guy, you know, like falls asleep during the game, doesn't know what's happening sometimes, a sort of a disconnected player. But he said, I don't know what's going on with you right now, but I know that things can be hard, and I hope, you do well. And he left. I left then, and I got messages from, first that guy wrote to me and said, hey, I'm sorry that I overstepped. I want you to have a good time, and, sorry. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to play anymore. Like I'm not gonna play Dungeons and Dragons with that group anymore. That's And I'm also a member of this. I want you to play games other than D&D group, and they're all about how Wizards of the Coast is corporate and bad and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. So that's another reason not to do it because I've got tons of other games. But I knew all the other people were like, we had fun. Sorry that it, didn't work out. I guess. That sort of thing.
Well, I mean,
So,
but good on you
so
for like knowing your boundaries and not like subjecting yourself to
yeah,
like something that's
it
no
was
longer fun.
it was really weird, but it was very similar. I was at a band practice one time, and the band practice wasn't going well. And Andy, friend of the show, Andy, you remember him, said, "You don't have to be in a band. You can just say you don't want to do it anymore." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," and it worked out that way.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I forgot about that. That was something that happened.
How long ago was that?
That was this Sunday.
Oh, okay, so fairly recent.
Oh no. Oh no, I fell asleep, Ben. Let's see if it works or not.
Uh-oh.
Yes, very recently. Very recently. Um,
Are you still gonna be friends
so
with that guy? Like, do you like other than Dungeons and Dragons? Do you
I
guys hang
mean,
out?
actually, we don't really hang out other than that. So probably not as
Yeah.
much. And I mean, that's just he's a strong personality. Um, has a very important, like the fact that one of his friends got mad and sad about something he was doing is going to weigh heavily on him. I knew that he needed me to be okay,
Yeah.
even if he wouldn't like say that. And I mean, again, like I said, I just can't play with him. That's just the way it is, and I recognize it.
Yeah.
So, um, it's only once a month, basically, but I already feel a great amount of freedom. And I think part of the reason is because during that month, I am thinking about,
Right.
well, what are we going to do? And this is the thing about improv, you know this as well as I do. There is the actual improv, which is, just that time at that night. You aren't planning anything or doing anything, but you think about stuff all the time. You're constantly absorbing information and thinking about how things work.
Yeah, and you also like
So that,
improv also requires rehearsal, right? Even if you aren't rehearsing what you're going to be doing or saying on stage in front of an audience, you still need to rehearse as a group.
right, when we are in this situation, how do you listen to the other people?
Yeah.
How does this person think? Right? You want to be able to anticipate a little bit. Um, what you want to do, I think this is the best way I can say it. You want to be able to be aware of what's going on.
Yes.
If the person that you're playing with wants you to follow them somewhere, you know, trust me and let's do this. It's like when you're playing the oh, hey, let's do this, Ben. Let's do this. Game time. Game time. Have you heard of Same Brain?
No.
Okay. This is gonna be fun.
Sane brain or same?
Same.
Same.
Same brain. It's got other words. It's got other names. But the basic idea is this: that you and your scene partner, that'd be you, Ben, and me, um, you say you think of a word and you both say a word. And then what you try to do is find the midpoint between those two words. And then whatever you both say, you find the midpoint between those two words, and eventually you'll say the same word.
Hmm.
All right. We'll work. We'll do it a couple times, and then I think you'll get it. So just think of a word in your head. It can be any word. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So and then we do three, two, one, and then say the word.
Okay.
Three, two, one. Chocolate.
Pitchfork.
Okay, we've got chocolate and pitchfork.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let's just try it. And we're doing just one word.
So we're each trying to find the midpoint between those two words.
Midpoint between chocolate and pitchfork.
Oh God.
Okay. Are you ready?
God. Okay.
Okay. Three, two, one.
Farming.
Devil. Okay, we've got devil
And farming.
and farming. Okay. Wow. That's okay.
I don't know, man.
Right.
Your
Yeah,
brain and
this
my
is gonna be
brain
hard.
aren't very the same.
Yep. Three, two, one. Hex.
I couldn't think of anything.
Oh, okay.
Hex is what you said?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because okay. So
Yeah.
now you get the idea.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, yeah.
start over.
Oh god.
Start over. And we do have a lag also, which is a problem for
Yeah.
the people who are listening to this. It's not that Ben is waiting or that I'm waiting. It's just okay. Here we go. Three, two, one.
Table.
Beaver.
What did you
Okay, beaver and table.
Beaver and table. Okay.
Beaver and table.
Okay.
Okay, we're trying to find the midpoint,
Right.
something that relates to both of them.
Right.
Okay. Three, two, one.
Wood.
Wood. Hey, we did it.
We did it.
So that's the basic
And
idea.
only two. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing, right? You want to be able to anticipate where that person's going.
Right.
You know, you don't have scripted stuff, but you still want to be able to work together as a group. You know, so that you can pull off stuff like we're doing a scene and it turns out that you're a spy, right?
Yeah.
But if you and I both get the idea that you're a spy, we can work towards something, and it can be like magic. People will say, "Well, you guys worked that out ahead of time," even though we didn't,
Right.
because same brain. And so, I mean, in a way that sort of works similarly. Again, with Dungeons and Dragons or any TTRPG, right? And again, you know, this person does not listen to our podcast, so I'm not ragging on him. I'm just talking here.
But you're not painting him in a very
Oh,
favorable light either.
no, I'm not. If I'm a dungeon master, right, and I say there's this artifact that's in this dungeon, right? As a player, I go, huh, my dungeon master just told me that there's an artifact in a dungeon. Quite possibly that has something to do with, you know,
Yeah.
the game that they plan on doing.
Yeah.
And so my character, who is a thief, will say, oh, I might be able to sell that artifact. Whereas another character who's a cleric will go, oh, that artifact might mean something to my church, or we could put it in our archives, whatever. What you don't want to do is go, artifact. I don't care about artifacts. My character doesn't want to go on this mission.
Yeah.
It really doesn't help.
Really
Now,
brings things to a halt.
but in the same way, right? If you're the dungeon master and the group is there, and you say, there's an artifact and it's in a dungeon, and the character that or the player that you're playing with, when you have your session 0, which you should always have, where you talk about what are you guys hoping to get out of this, whatever.
Yeah.
If they say, I hate dungeon crawls, then yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, what I did was I sat down with everybody, asked them what kind of character they had, what they wanted to do, etc. And the character that this person picked was a Githyanki. Or not a Githyanki, sorry, Githzerai. I know people in the comments already going crazy. A Githzerai druid who is trying to put together a party to help in this effort to, you know, put a strong force together of adventurers who go out and do stuff and all that. So his character spent a lot of time talking about how the other characters were worthless and not suitable to be in his party.
Yeah.
Which was a character choice, which was a thing that he did. And you can do that and all that, but oftentimes he doesn't even know what he's doing here. He has no reason to be here. He might as well leave. and then having the character leave, you know, it the motivation is weird. And so I think that was it, is that it was just the final. I'm sorry that I went back to it, but I'm just, as I say it out loud, it really does make sense that I would not be happy in that situation.
Yeah.
Because in the end, what I would like is cooperation. Um, you and I both were in the annex role playing thing, right? A much different feel in a lot of ways
Yeah.
than that. Like everybody in that group was there to perform, and that might be part of it, right? Everybody wanted to have kind of the best time,
Yeah.
and so they picked up on hooks and they did so. I think that went a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. And it
Um,
was also like I mean, we talk about that a lot, that annex improv thing that we did, where it was never meant to be in front of an audience. It was basically just playtime for
yeah,
improvisation. You could call it a rehearsal if you wanted to, if the
and
result was to be on stage.
but as far as that goes, granted, there was a time when, I mean, Jennifer brings this up all the time. There was a time when uh, Jennifer and some other people had established something on stage where Jennifer's name was this, and they were in an office building, whatever. And then Brett came in and did something completely different, called her by a different name, and changed the role she had in the thing. And then her reaction was like he called her Elizabeth, and she said something like, "I'm Samantha,"
Yeah.
or whatever. And then the end, Brett counseled her and said, "You want to go along with what?" This is why I realized that yes and only goes so far. You do want to counsel other people, but you also want to pay attention to what the other people are doing.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Brett was paying attention or if he wanted to create a new story thread.
I feel as though he wasn't paying attention. That was
Yeah.
the impression he was doing something and then he came in. If he wanted to create a new story thread, and this comes to us, and this is why you would be doing a rehearsal thing. There are things that people do to clear scenes,
Yeah.
like they say, and now we're at a baseball game, right? That is totally cool. Um, or I mean, the way that I thought uh, she could have handled it is looking at Brett and going, "I told you this before. When we're in this space,
Yeah.
you call me Ellie.
Or like
They don't know Samantha."
on Tuesdays my name is Janet.
Yeah, exactly. Something, and again, it goes back to I talked to Jennifer about this today. In fact, um, there's a there's a thing that um always strikes me, and that's that I was doing improv around the time that the Upright Citizens Brigade was doing improv, like kind of at the same level. When I say at the same level, I don't mean that I was at their level as far as improv goes, but I mean I was doing, shows and stuff like that
Yeah.
too. Um, and I was enamored with them. I thought that they were great. This is before they started their school and everything. And one of the things that they did, one of the things about their methodology is something that really speaks to the kind of, again, autistic side of my figuring out humor is game. You figure out, okay, this is funny, and why is this funny? So what the game of the scene is. So
Right.
give me an example, Ben, of some well-known Saturday Night Live sketch.
A well-known Saturday Night Live sketch. Eddie Murphy as Gumby.
Okay, so the game of that scene is that Gumby is a children's character and funny, uh, the game of the scene is that you're taking this funny children's character and causing, or not causing, but um, showing a darker side to them, a jaded show business kind of character. So, if you're doing that, and again, this is their thing. If this is true, what else?
Right.
What else is so? The idea would be if Gumby is oh, what's his name? Martin character or whatever. They're all, you know, you bring in, and some improv guy is now listening to me going, "What are you talking? What is this guy?" But you know what I mean. You're playing off of that. You don't have, okay, Gumby is this children's entertainer who is actually a jaded show business guy, and then come in and your whole deal is that you're afraid of flying and you're trying to build a scene off of that. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Right.
It doesn't play into the game of the scene.
Right.
You want to all kind of coalesce around that thing. And when I went to improv classes around here, the people that were teaching came from a more improv Olympic background, more Chicago background, where there's a lot more focus on relationships
Yeah.
between characters rather than the game of scenes. And I didn't like it as much, and I couldn't figure out why. This is before my diagnosis and everything. And then I realized I don't understand relationships between people. I understand what this joke thing that's happening is.
I understand relationships
But
between jokes, not people.
exactly. What? So it was hard for me. It was harder. The one of the reasons I stopped though wasn't because it was more difficult for me. I was still learning. I was still getting there, right?
Yeah.
But it was. Um, did you ever see Patriot, the Amazon
No.
TV show?
I have not seen it.
Okay, so there's one thing that I will say. Um, you know how like, for instance, I don't talk about work, right? I say I don't talk about work and all that. Um, I realize that when one is doing improvisation, right, the subconscious boils to the surface sometimes. And I noticed that uh, in an improv setting, I might complain about something from work
Yeah.
that touched a little bit too close to home, and that if someone from work had been there, they would have seen me do the thing
Right.
and would have been like, "Hey, man, that wasn't cool. What are you doing?" Right?
You got to bring
So
that up to HR,
I
not to
had
your
to,
improv group.
I had to take a step back because I was like, could be a problem
Right.
eventually. So, speaking about that, HR, are you familiar with the band Bad Brains?
No.
So HR is the name of one of the people in Bad Brains. It's a punk band.
Isn't
Early
Bad Brain the
pioneers of.
production company for MST3K?
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, it does have the word brains in it. It might be Bad Brains. It's something brains. I know that.
Yeah.
But Bad Brains is that band. Um, and I've always wondered. It comes around every time that I hear the word HR. It makes me wonder: is there anyone who ever did a sketch saying, "I'm gonna have to bring this up to HR," and then it's them sitting across from the guy from Bad Brains going, "There's this guy at work," and him listening and then going, "Well, I
Best
don't know what you expect me to do about it." And
Best
then they go
Brains.
right into a song.
Yeah. Best Brains is the MST3K
Best
production
Brains,
company.
that's right.
But I accidentally typed in MST3K Broduction Company, and so now I want to start a Broduction Company.
Oh, dude, it's such a production company. Are you kidding me?
You don't want to go there.
Oh, I like that a lot. I think that that's if that isn't a thing, it would become one.
I'm a I'm a
Oh, geez. Hey, speaking about which,
I'm a procrastinator.
procrastin procrastination. Brian Brian Cranstonation? Is that a thing?
Brain
Does that work at
cranstonation.
all?
I'll have to get back at you
Brian
on whether or not that works.
Cranston. Yeah.
What the Cranston?
So let's see. Is there were there any chats? Were there any
Nope.
people watching? Did anything happen?
Nobody
I
was with
realized that
us.
I had been really dropping the ball on interaction with our audience, Ben,
I
for the
believe that if
past
we had
how
had
many
any
episodes we're on now?
interactions, I would have let you know.
Okay, good. Um also, Ben gonna guess the news, or Paul gonna guess the news actually. Is there anything that's happened recently?
There was a big
I can't
flood.
think of anything.
Did you hear of the big, huge flood in a Middle Eastern city?
No, I didn't.
Dubai is basically
Oh,
underwater.
I remember what it was. I remember what it was. Something about Iran and Israel.
Yeah.
There was some sort of an altercation.
Iran sent a number of drones to attack Israel.
Okay.
And Israel, because they have that Iron Dome, were able to basically knock them out of the sky and limit damage.
Gotcha.
And then Iran was like, "Okay, we're done.
Hey,
We
that
made
was
it. We
fun.
made our point."
That was a fun thing that we did,
Yeah.
everybody. So,
Oh, do you know
okay.
what started this week though? Paul gonna guess the news.
Oh,
Paul,
no, I don't. Okay, here we
what
go.
historic event began on Monday? What historic event involving a former president began on Monday?
Oh, is it a one of the several criminal trials of our former president?
It is the very first instance of a criminal trial for a former U.S. president. Yes, it's the hush money trial.
Hmm.
Jury selection just completed today, as a matter of fact.
I still find it fascinating, Ben, and I'm speaking as an independent, just so that people will listen. Um, the the fact that the Republican Party has not one person with enough sway to go, hey, you know what? I feel as though I can use this situation where this former president is currently on trial
Yeah.
in a criminal proceeding to say, hey, maybe I should be president instead. I can't believe that there's not
It's that cult of
one.
personality that got built around our former president. I think all of the other ideal candidates are afraid of the pushback from a very large base of the Republican Party.
Yeah, I guess that's the way that I can feel okay about it. That they've kind of made their own bed here. It's
Oh yeah.
their own actions that have done it. It just seems to me like there's gotta it's gotta be eaten away at some people. I have to think.
Yeah, and they're resigning from Congress or other like a number of Congress people have resigned because they're tired of the MAGA cult. And
Yeah.
so House of Representatives is actually losing a lot of middle of the road conservatives.
And it is really funny because there are some conservatives who have done that where I'm like, I didn't like this person anyway, but now it's even,
Yeah.
you know, So do I maybe like? And so the enemy of my enemy is my friend does not hold true
Yeah.
in multiple cases.
Never am going to vote for Mitt Romney. Hey Paul, look
Oh,
what time
and
it is.
hey, yeah, look at what time it is. And oh yeah, O.J. Simpson is dead.
Yep.
That happened between our podcasts as well.
Did it?
O.J.
Did we not
Simpson,
talk about it?
also known. I
Did
don't think so. Did we?
I think we talked about it. I think it happened on Thursday last
Oh,
week, and we talked about it.
okay. Well, sorry everybody.
OJ still dead. A lot of
And with that,
here on OJ Watch.
oh yeah, we did talk about it. We did talk about it because I talked about the signaling that even though OJ not being acquitted in trial was it made some people upset.
Yeah.
It also highlighted the fact that maybe, just maybe, being rich and powerful all of a sudden meant more, and equal protection for rich people became a thing. I don't know. Anyway, Ben, with that, how's it happening? I appreciate your time in between now and then.
Keep it
Keep it wrong.
wrong. I'll talk to you next week, Paul.
Hey, oh wait, yeah. Oh, one last thing.
Yeah.
Fallout,
Yeah.
the TV show. It is another one of those cases where people are complaining about how
Is
the
it woke?
anti-capitalist message of of Fallout is woke, and people are like, "What game were you playing?"
Game? It's
So,
based
all
on a
right.
game?